Welcome back to Yildiz Readings 5D. We're here to cover your twin flame path and what is up in the stars for the divine masculine. For those of you that don't know, I'm a psychic medium, intuitive astrologer, as well as, yes, we do have our membership. Now, if you are wanting to see either the membership or any bookings or offers that we have, you can jump through and take a look at our website. And we also have the direct landing page. We're going to get straight into the read. And, for many of you, especially if you do look to other channels or you have queries around the twin flame path, this is one of the portals that I have been waiting for a very long time. And those of you since 2017, if you've been going through your ascension process, April particularly is a new portal in my belief. Now, having gone through many elements of my spiritual awakening, and coaching many twin flames, especially some into twin flame paths, there are portals where that divine connection comes into play. This is a very significant and an important portal in April for the divine masculines and for the divine feminines inside your own energy core, but definitely for the forward momentum of this path. Now, some reality checks are going to come in, and we do see this coming through for the divine masculine. The sun energy, the frequency of the Trinity, I do believe they have been very much in this stagnancy. And again, we can go into this blame game in it, and I'm covering and ducking and hiding. I myself have gone through this transition myself. And again, no matter where you are on the path, be it you're in reunion, be it you're in separation, integrating, these energy waves all directly do impact every single wave. How we directly interpret it and understand it can be very different. However, it does directly impact all of us. So rest assured, you're not getting left behind. You are moving through this portal. And for the divine masculines, they're really looking at their life at the moment with a significant focus, a very deep seriousness. Many of us have moved into April initially a little bit like a hangover, feeling as though we need to catch up on some errands, to get things done, maybe even having to honor the body and look after our wellness. And certain zodiacs directly can be more impacted than most. And, I have actually given some challenges, particularly to Aries natives, that their frequency between now and next month is going to be chalk and cheese. It's going to be very different. So regardless of what your zodiac sign is, and for those of you cross-watching, all the divine masculines at the moment have gone through this introspection, this direct process of intuitively tuning into what is correct for them, having this kind of, could I say, vulgar outburst frequency of, almost like lighting a fire under the butt and saying, hey, something's got to give, something's got to change. And I did feel that frequency really coming through at a very large level. And I do feel it's going to increase in momentum. I do believe also they're doing this at an internal level initially. And as we look to the most recent past, we see this. And it's, about going into, what grounds them, what nurtures them. This can be to do with their resources, to do with their emotions and where they feel safe. And sometimes we can become stagnant because, we really can move into certain things feeling they're sustainable. And I think really in the last few weeks, and especially April, it's giving us this divine clarity about the fake safe and the codependent safe. And I'll give you a little example. And this was really coming through with the Mars transits. For some of you, it could have been that you were super hungry. And I'm going to pull the chart up to actually give you an explanation of this. Bear with me for 5 seconds. Now, why do I say Mars at the moment, where it's transiting? We've got it in Pisces at 26 degrees. Let me get the monthly overview. Bear with me. So unorganized. I should have had this open ahead of time because there's a key date. Now, from the 15th, we have Mercury moving into Aries. Now, Mars, on the other hand, entered on the 9th. Okay. So initially it was in Pisces, then it moved into Aries. And, this is assertive. But the other thing we need to look for is where Venus was. Now, Venus was sitting in the house of Taurus. So as we've moved into April, in the initial stages, it could have been that we felt almost, and this was from March 30th, we may have emotionally eaten things. We might have invested in a frequency in a way that we were looking at values in a very tactile way. And we've got to remember, Uranus and Taurus was there. And the only reason I'm bringing these into the intuitive reading right now is so we can get back into the intuitive and engage the actual context of why this portal, both psychologically, psychically, in their own auric body, all interlink. Okay, so do you have to understand astrology? Not at all. You can see this showing up in your own life. So initially it could have been that we were looking at life and going, this is what's safe. Now, we do know because of a particular planet that was sitting there that hasn't been so. We've felt quite unstable. So it's very natural for the divine masculines at this point in time, looking at their life going, what actually is stable here? Now, the term I was hearing, especially for April, was the floor is lava. And Mars energy, Pluto energy in nature, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many moving pieces, things are picking up in pace. We're feeling very energized and things are moving quick. So we're having to make very conscious decisions very quickly, but we need to be cautious about those values. So in some ways, divine masculine may have initially gone, okay, this is what I have. I know what I want. We're going back to the crowning energy. I know what I want. I'm trying to work out how to do that. I've had a lot of instability. I don't want to cause instability towards others. Others might have caused instability to me, but what actually is the basis of what my heart's desire is? So it was very nostalgic. It was thinking back to the divine feminine connection, to how things could have been if they had planted their seeds in particular, locations, and what they would have got out of it. And it was a harvest time, but it also was a recovery time to replant seeds. And it's pretty much by the end of the month. For some of us, we're going to be activating those things, trusting our instincts, moving towards it. For others, it's still a little bit confusing, but we do see them moving into the heart space here. Now, sometimes the most cursed event can be the saving grace, because we say rejection is the universe's protection. So whatever doors were really blocking them, I do feel as we're proceeding forward, it's almost like they're gaining clarity. It's like, look, I've got to put my energy into something moving forward, and I've got to forge my path. I've got to realize what's working, realize what wasn't working, break some old patterns and habits in order to turn over a new leaf. And it was almost like this feeling of time is of the essence here. Now, can individuals feel cursed? Yes, it can. And this was because of a lot of the psychological energy that they were moving through. And I believe as we do move to June, some of that is really going to be these shackles dropping off them. Within our Mercury retrograde, it was very psychological for them. Where they're moving to now, they're having revelations where they were holding themselves back. They needed to liberate. Where things have become a burden, maybe through enabling or tribal situations. It could have also been due to investments. They're now looking at how to turn that ship around, okay? So where we have ideals or subjects that turn up, 9 times out of 10 when the divine feminine's looking and it's like, oh my God, there's so many obstacles, how is this possible? It's what the obstacles are that become intolerant, intolerable, that we actually do get up and get things going. And I truly believe this is a positive thing, because what you do directly want to see inside of their birth chart, inside of their energy at a collective level, is physical movement, structured, thoughtful processes, and wanting to invest in a mature energy. And this is where this grand awakening is occurring with these individuals. Now, they had to reflect. where they are right now. They are looking at the very foundation of subjects. Now, what they are not liking is what they need to change. What they are now becoming attracted to is less. It's less fleeting subjects, and it's more, how could we say it, sustainable growth. Where there was betrayals, again, why am I investing in these things where I'm betraying myself? I'm not investing in myself. I'm maybe pushing the blame over to another individual and realizing I need to take my power back. And some of those things can be quite urgent. Some of those things that are cropped up can be revelations of, wow, I thought I had a bit more time to maybe address X, Y, and Z. Now it feels as though I'm really having to. So it can be almost like a feeling of it. And I think the Tower moment was already there. I think it's more the urgency of having to address these things. This energetically is going to be a blessing in disguise. But I think if they're really tuning into their intuition, they're having a revelation they do not need to be the victim in a situation. Some of these circumstances that has been shown to them over the last 3 months, it might have been like, how can I best describe this? And I think all of us that do watch this can directly relate. It has been quite psychological from the beginning of the year to now. We have felt quite tired, anxious, really maybe not having the time to check in with individuals or to come up for air. And we might have felt like we were going in circles. Left was right, right was left. This is a portal where they're actually coming out of now, and they're not wanting. We get the we get this red energy as the outcome. I'll give you a close-up view. And again, I, being a psychic, read intuitively. So if you get additional messages, don't outrule those things. What I'm getting here is they no longer want to be the victim in a circumstance. They want to take the bull by the horns. Having confidence, maybe to do with documents as well. We're seeing this energy drop down to a 4, so it can be to do with home and family, and whether they have an entanglement with a karmic individual, and how to actually look at those things, where they're going to live, what they're going to do, where their resources can come from. Now, the ironic thing is, many times we hear, say, a masculine has become single. Why have we not heard from these individuals? What we do need to look at is the physical analytics of these dynamics. What we don't want is them to come into the world and be dragging the Hessian sack of unfinished business. So it's very respectful that they are realistically looking at this and going, wow, okay, I've got to really own my power here, address some things. And I do believe these things are going to be addressed pretty quickly. I feel that these positions they're placing themselves in and obstacles they're directly tackling is to liberate themselves out so that they directly can have less. And all of us are going to experience adversity. Let's get it real. However, they don't want to bring unnecessary drama and ties that are binding them. And this is really a wrap-up of an ending. So I do feel this is something that they're actually coming to a revelation about what they directly need to do. Now, we're going to pull a clarifier on this to find out a little bit more about what this is. And we hope to see you for next week to see how this is actually playing out in the context of things. Some of the energy may come through in the feminine read and the karmic read. I do check in with each energy. And if you do want to get a joint energy update, feel free to book a reading and we can look at that connection for you. Oh, mate, they're going for gold. They're absolutely going for gold. This can be a monetary related matter. The things they value. What was binding them? It was almost like, for some of them, it can be a transition of a job that has made them feel unauthentic. In certain careers, yes, I can see that as so. I also do feel they're tired of waiting. Wow, perfect conditions. I'm hearing the term perfect conditions. They're feeling as though they are so fed up of waiting for the perfect condition that they've already made a choice. They already know what they want. They're tuning into the divine feminine. They know what they want. There's been a lot of obstacles. Some of the bugbear might have been a person, place, or thing, or finances. And they're kind of saying, I'm so very tired of trying to wait for the most perfect kind of timing that it's like instead of allowing things to happen to them, they're now taking the power back and saying, there's no perfect time. The card's going to fall where they're going to fall. But I need to create this exit plan, address this. I'm going to pull a chakra card because I feel like it's physical conversation. Excuse me if my audio went up. I had to lean over the microphone. Okay, is this physical conversation, please? This is the heart desire. This is why I'm going to follow my bliss. Yeah, it's ending a relationship. Now, when we say relationship and giving their power away, it's like not waiting for the other person to do it, but they need to do it. Now, that relationship can be to their body, to their feelings, to a person, to a career, but there is an ending here. We are going to check in with this next week. If you do want to join a membership or get a booking, you can jump online and get any of those now. And if you do want to sign up to our Sage in the Circle network, we have the landing page, but we will see you next week. And tell us how this directly lands. How have you seen this show up with your divine masculine or inside your own life? I'd love to hear. Share with those that are going through similar things. They need to hear your side of the story too, and it really does count.